Hi, Steve Caliper here on behalf of Here's Life Africa. Thank you for joining into this conversation. I'm here with Andy, live from Africa. Andy, first of all, where are you? Where in the world is Andy?
Hey, Steve, I'm in Kampala, Uganda, which is in East Africa.
That is awesome. Many folks that are listening to this recording or this conversation know the mission of Here's Life Africa, but kind of give us a sense of why you're there. What's the mission in this conference that you're doing as it relates to equipping and empowering leaders? You know, the Great Commission, this is the lane that we're in. It's about equipping and empowering leaders to see a depth of community, to see God's fruit be abundant. So give us a sense of a little bit about what you've got going on and why you're there.
Sure. Well, the Here's Life Africa is all about the Great Commission, which I feel like every Christian in the world should be about the Great Commission. So welcome, everyone. The thing we focus on is leadership, evangelism, and discipleship. Three things: leadership, evangelism, discipleship. I'm here focusing on the leadership piece, and I can tell you more about that. But in the evangelism discipleship, we use the Jesus film. We train pastors. We start Bible study groups in villages with solar-powered audio Bibles. And things are going great with the evangelism discipleship and the leadership piece that I'm here working with now.
Give us a sense of you're in Uganda, but of course there's great ministry taking place all over Africa. But what are some of the leaders and what are some of our teammates? What are they saying and experiencing? Why this incredible movement in Africa right now?
Well, there's tremendous hunger in Africa, physically and spiritually. The continent has exceeded Latin America in terms of the most amount of Christians in a continent of 630 million. And the forecast is by 2050, Africa will reach 1 billion Christians. Think about that. That's 3 Christians for every American, whether an American saved or not. There will be 3 African Christians by the year 2050. So the fields are white unto harvest. There's tremendous hunger, and the fruitfulness is, I'm going to say the word unbelievable because it's hard for people to believe unless you were here and saw it. The harvest is real. And so people are excited about that. What we're working on with our leadership initiative is, we call it the Seminary of Life. It's an initiative that was 12 years in the making, and it's crystallized during COVID, and we're 3 years into it now, and it's working wonderful. We're doing something with the leadership that I don't hear too many, I don't know if any others are doing this. We're trying to unleash the spiritual leaders of a nation nationally. I said those words carefully. So we have a very simple model. Don't have to go into it all now unless we need to. But we're working with leaders from major cities in the nations, very few leaders, but gifted, qualified leaders, and meeting with them 3 times a year. And we call that the Seminary of Life. And we just had dinner and laughed and laughed and laughed. And that's so important for leaders who are carrying a heavy, heavy burden. And we're encouraging them. And I just want to tell you one about one of the leaders, so you know the kind of people we're working with. One of the leaders is Dr. Alfred. He's a bishop in the Anglican Church in Lira, Uganda. This man was tried to be killed when he was a child by Idi Amin and his thugs. The soldiers rounded up him and his classmates, 7 years old, put him in the back of a pickup truck with blood all over the pickup truck, tortured the kids, trying to find where their parents were to kill the parents. Well, with Alfred, they poured gasoline on his feet and lit him on fire, and he did not die. He was hospitalized. His parents wouldn't come check on him because they were scared that they were next to be killed. And he goes on to forgive the people who are mean to him. And now he's leading a East Africa-wide commission on peace and reconciliation and forgiveness, working with the Supreme Court Justice of Uganda and other leaders in other countries. That's just an example of one of the leaders who we're working with. And just tonight, we were just laughing and laughing, and you would never know that he has all that pain in his past because he's forgiven his enemies, and he's spreading the love of Christ like you would not believe.
There's no doubt, Andy, we could stay on all afternoon and you could tell hundreds of those types of stories. There's going to be some information, of course, shared in this communication that people can connect with Here's Life Africa. But what's your greatest non-negotiable? What are you running at? What do you need prayer support and financial support over the next 90 days? We're right in the beginning of summer. What does the summer campaign look like? What's the non-negotiable that you know you want to accomplish and achieve?
Well, we do the leadership, evangelism, and discipleship, and we do that through 47 teams, and they require support every month for the salaries for the teams, for gas for the vehicle, for a little bit of food, for repairs on the vehicles, flat tires, all that kind of stuff. So we have an ongoing need of it's about $125,000 a month is our ongoing need, and in exchange for that money every month, it's just don't just believe me when I say this. We see about 100 to 120,000 decisions for Christ every month.
Yeah.
And so this summer, by God's grace, we expect to see over 300,000 decisions for Christ. And we're going to train pastors. We're going to start Bible study groups. So we need support. It takes $500 to take our ministry to one village for a 4-day crusade where people will get saved. And so we need support for the summer months of the ministry.
I'm not a mathematician, but 125,000 a month is 375. You got 100,000 decisions. You're looking at about $1.25 a decision, a profession of faith for about $1.25. So to me, it's not about how much money someone might want to support Here's Life Africa. It's about how many decisions or professions of faith do we want to say, God, you've been blessing to us. We want to bless others. Andy, as we wrap up here, give us a little bit of a sense of your heart. What is it that you're experiencing on your heart being with the team now in Africa today and this week? What sort of emotions and experiences have you personally had as we wrap up?
It's always tough being here. The needs are so great. They're so great. It's like the picture I always have is like having a pitcher of water and pouring it in the Sahara Desert, and it just goes into the ground. The needs are so great. So I'm just always moved by the needs. And I'm thankful that our mission is prioritized and focused on sharing the truth of the gospel and encouraging leaders to help them carry forth the message to lift their arms and make them stronger. So that's what our ministry does, and that's what donations to Here's Life Africa does, and we need support for that. But in addition to that, the needs are just so great. Some of these key leaders we're working with are trying to build a home. They can do a lot with a very little bit amount of money. The needs are just they just go on. People need Bibles. The needs are they're almost endless. One thing that I just did just now before we hopped on this call was I authorized a friend of ours who's a tailor to provide a suit to the 4 key leaders of our Seminary of Life in Uganda. A suit. Pastors need suits. And in Africa, they wear suits all the time, unlike America where it's only sometimes. So this dear friend has measured them tonight and is going to bring those suits tomorrow, like in 24 hours. And get this, he told me, he said, Andy, I'm going to double your kind offer to provide a suit, and I'm going to give a suit also. So these 4 men are each going to get 2 suits. Wow. And so that's an example of the kind of thing that goes beyond our ministry that there's so much need for. The needs just go on and on and on.
Well, here across America, we are certainly praying for, and many are serving as ambassadors, and certainly we need some more ambassadors and supporting financially, but Africans are now seeing what they can accomplish and achieve. Andy, thank you for all that you're doing on behalf of Here's Life Africa. Just want to lift up that we're called to be bold in our faith, that others would desire to know who Christ is as we do. And I appreciate you being on point, on mission, and we'll look forward to hearing from you when you get back from Africa.
All right, sounds good. Great to see you, Steve, and
All right.
others. Thanks for tuning in.
Awesome.
Have a good day, night, whatever time it is where you are in the world.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy.
All right, bye-bye.